Welcome to Moniker Media. I'm your vocals and visuals, Alex Waddell. Today we're taking a look at this little guy, the iPhone 12 mini. Now this is going to be our review. We're going to go over nice things about it, why I bought it, stuff like that. And if you're new around here, Moniker Media is a channel all about tech. If you like tech, come on, give us a subscribe. That's all I'm asking for. Now let's get into the review. Before we get into reviewing this little guy, I have something I need to share with you guys. My deepest, darkest secret. I'm a robot. No, not an actual robot. Rather, I'm an Android user at heart. So you may be wondering, why is an Android guy rocking an iPhone? And also, a MacBook. I don't have my Apple Watch on me right now, but if I did, it'd be somewhere over there. Now where I come from, if you use an Android phone, you're kind of seen as a bit of a joke. But my main draw to Android is customization. With iPhone, let's face it, you just don't get that much customization. Now with Android, not only with the software and the hardware, you get lots and lots of customization. Now iOS 14, it's got a little bit closer to that Android customization that I'm looking for, but it's still nowhere near the same. Now this little guy, it's special. Now this little guy, he's kind of special to me. He changed my whole daily carry. I used to be the type of guy with an Android phone, Android smartwatch, Windows PC, but now I have all these Apple gadgets. And it's all because of one little phone, and it's not this phone, but you know what? Let's play a game. Alright, ready, set, go. This phone would be considered small build size, especially compared to other flagships at its time, just like this bad boy right here. It's made of high quality materials on the rails of the phone, and then the back. Launched at a flagship price point. Alright, time's up. If you guessed the iPhone 4, you're wrong. It was actually this phone, the Essential PH1. The Essential PH1, or Essential Phone, launched on August 17th, 2017. It was made of one of the highest quality builds you could get at the time. It had titanium for side rails and ceramic for the back glass. Now while it didn't have the top of the line specs, especially compared to the iPhone of its time, it's long been one of my favorite phones to ever be released and the favorite phone that I've ever used. Just the feel in the hand was nice and premium. If they launched the same phone but with updated specs in 2021, I'd buy it in a heartbeat. Because of the similarities of this phone to this phone, the iPhone 12 mini, the flat edges, nice build quality, I've decided to sink $1,049 into this little guy. That's Canadian Timbits. For those who are unaware, that's $729 US. Now that's for the 128GB version, which is what I've got here. But this is the first iPhone I've ever pre-ordered. Since buying the iPhone 12 mini, I've also bought an Apple Watch, which you can see here, and then also this M1 MacBook Air sitting back here, which is truly a performance beast for its price. This brings me perfectly into the first section of my review, the ecosystem. Whether on purpose or not, I think the mainstream appeal of Apple products is its ecosystem. Now many consider it to be a walled garden. I like to think of it more as a gateway drug into their consumer electronics. Once you experience the synergy of one Apple product with another, it only brings you wanting more, wanting to experience more of that magical moment. I first experienced this magic, this Apple magic, between my iPhone 8 and AirPods. Now originally I bought the AirPods to go along with my OnePlus 7, but the experience was honestly kind of lackluster. Every day it would be frequent disconnects, and just the lack of features really kind of turned me off on AirPods. especially the play pause feature coming in and out of your ear and not being able to see the battery in any of the settings. The second I used them with the iPhone 8 though, it was like a new sweetness that I've never tasted before. It was honestly kind of magical. The sound quality even improved from Android, and especially that play pause feature coming in and out of your ear was like just the piece de resistance on top. Now it's sort of a meme that Apple products working together seamlessly feels magical. Apple's even used it in their marketing materials multiple times. But if I were to be honest, it feels like that most of the time. Now, I've owned an Android phone and an Android Wear based smartwatch before, but honestly it's so full of frustrations and limitations compared to an iPhone with an Apple Watch. It's moments like using AirDrop for the first time, or FaceTiming someone on your laptop that make the high price of entering this ecosystem fade into the back of your mind. While I might miss the customization and freedom of Android, this Apple prison isn't half bad, if I were to be completely honest with you. If you're someone looking for a top tier performer of a phone that also has an amazing number of high quality accessories to go with it that just integrate with each other seamlessly, then the only one that I can really recommend at this point that I've tried is the iPhone. On paper is the part of my review where I'll be talking about the technical specifications of the device that I'm reviewing. The reason for this naming is because a device's specifications are only as great as how its maker integrates them with the software that it's using. In classic Apple fashion, the iPhone 12's paper specs might lead you to believe that you're not getting your money's worth for the high price that the iPhone 12 mini commands. Starting with the system on a chip, the iPhone 12 mini sports Apple's A14 Bionic chip, which features a 8-core CPU with a 4-core GPU design. It also features 4 GB of RAM, which thanks to Apple's tight integration with iOS, it's not really a problem as the low number might lead you to believe. This is still the most powerful chip in a smartphone to date, at least at the time of this review, especially by the majority of benchmarks out there. For the first time in a non-Pro Series Apple device, the iPhone 12 mini features a beautiful 5.2-inch Super Retina XDR display with a resolution of 1080 by 2340. If you do the math, that's 476 pixels per inch density with a peak brightness of 1200 nits, which means that even in broad daylight, you'll have no problem seeing this masterpiece of a display. I can say without a doubt in my mind that this is the best display I've ever looked at. And for Apple to put it in its lowest end iPhone model this year, I really have to commend them for. The iPhone 12 mini also sports a 2227 mAh battery, which is a bit small for today's standards, and I'll get into battery life a little bit later. Apple still has the base storage for this device at 64 GB, which really isn't enough for today's modern standards. I have the 128 GB version here, which luckily is only a $50 upgrade. If you compare the 12 mini with a top tier Android phone, the specs you get might seem a little paltry in comparison. But once again, Apple shows its dominance with its vertical integration of its software with its hardware, delivering an overpowered and exceptional smartphone experience. One omission that I thought I'd miss when switching to the iPhone 12 mini from my Pixel 4 XL is the high refresh rate display. For the uninitiated, a display's refresh rate is the number of times in a second that an image on the screen refreshes. The iPhone 12's display runs at 60 Hz, Hertz being the unit of measurement a display's refresh rate is measured in. This means that the iPhone will update its screen 60 times per second. Now the general rule of thumb is that higher Hertz delivers a more smoother experience, and in most cases that is the truth. But Apple has somehow done some magic, once again, to make this seem less noticeable. However, in a side-by-side comparison with my 4XL, I can still tell a difference. But on its own, I could never honestly say that the experience is less than buttery smooth. While hard to capture on camera, this next clip demonstrates the difference between a 90 Hz and a 60 Hz screen. If I were to be completely honest with you, the main thing I miss about using my Android phone is the battery life. Now the iPhone 12 mini's 2227 mAh battery does far outperform what its number would suggest, But again, the general rule of batteries is that the higher the milliamp hours, the more battery life you're getting. And if I were to be real, this battery life just doesn't cut it for me. I find myself recharging this phone multiple times a day, and it's my only real gripe with this device. Now, if you're someone who only uses your phone a couple times a day, just occasionally checking it, this battery life is probably more than fine with you. The next failing of the iPhone 12 mini isn't hardware related, but it's software. Dear Apple, please, you stole the Android widgets and ported them into iOS 14. Please steal Android's notification system. The way iOS hides everything in the notification center is quite annoying. And the separation between the common system controls like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth from that notification shade is something I really miss when I switch from Android to iOS. Another frustration I experienced was having to go to the home screen just to use the settings menu. Apple, why can't you put it in the notification shade, quick access, or even in your control center? And don't even get me started on how many apps have their settings hidden away in the system settings. The last thing I am puzzled by is Apple's hesitation to move from Lightning to USB-C on its iPhones and some of its accessories, like the AirPods. Apple was a pioneer for pushing the USB-C standard forward, for better or for worse. The new M1 MacBook that I bought, that I mentioned earlier, uses USB-C for everything. And even Apple's own iPad Pro and iPad Air lines have moved on to the use of USB-C for its charging and data port. My dream of one cable to rule them all is ruined by the fact that I have to carry a USB-C to Lightning port just to charge my iPhone and my AirPods. As world-renowned tech reviewer MKBHD says, USB-C all the things. Please, Apple. Now, I'm no master of photography, but the 12 megapixel wide and ultra wide cameras on the iPhone 12 mini combined with dual pixel autofocus have wowed me time and time again. Coming from my Pixel 4 XL, which is still considered to be one of the best still shooters out there in the smartphone game, which features Google's mastery of computational photography, I've been time and time again impressed with the photos coming out of this mighty mouse. Night mode shots with this little guy were fantastic, and while I can't compare these phone's photos to another simply because I'm not qualified to do so, I'll show you some of my favorite shots coming out of this guy. I'll close off this review with a little wish list to everyone's favorite fruit brand of consumer electronics. Sorry, BlackBerry. As a fellow Canadian, I love you still. Apple, if you put USB-C and a high refresh rate on your next iPhone, it's an insta-buy from me. I'll continue to miss the experiences I've had from Android, but for now, you're the one in my pocket, on my wrist, and on my desk. The convenience you've given to me has been unmatched, and while you may not support the latest and greatest of all the technologies out there, you've managed to switch my hatred of iOS and Apple in general to a love for the integration that occurs seamlessly between iOS and macOS and all of the accessories surrounding the ecosystem. You've won my heart for now. Now for you, the viewer, if you're interested about hearing my switch from Windows to Mac, especially the M1 Mac, let me know in the comments down below. If you're not interested in that, let me know your thoughts about the iPhone 12 series. I hope you have a good day, and peace.